Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest tonight is Jerzey Jim Farrell. How's it going, Jim?
What's going on, my brother? Good to be on here, man. I'm pretty excited. I think we got so much to talk about. We're gonna have a great time tonight.
Yes, we do. How'd you find out about the Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge when you were looking for contestants?
Yeah, it was awesome. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the story. So, somebody sent me a link that said, if you have a car from your past and like to tell your story, send this audition tape into, it was a casting company for NBC television. So it was like, I was sitting on the couch, it was like 8 o'clock at night, and I kept thinking about it. I'm like, man, I've been telling the story of my 69 Charger for 43 years. I just tell these great stories about the car, man, because it's my youth, and I just kind of relive it all the time. So 10 o'clock at night, my wife's in bed, she's sleeping, I wake her up, I'm like, yo, we got to make this audition tape. She goes, for what? I said, there's this show. I'm not going to get it, but I want to at least make the attempt. So we sent the audition tape out at 10 o'clock at night, California. Next morning I woke up, I had the email, and they were like, where have you been all our life? You're on. Like, they fell in love with my story right there. But I auditioned for it.
Didn't you also do a drawing too?
Yeah, but that all came after. It's a weird process because first they want to see if they like you as a person.
Yeah.
Like my personality, everything, the genuineness of me. And then they got to kind of do a background check. I mean, they ran as far as back as interviewing the doctor that delivered me, who smacked my ass, man. I mean, they asked everybody, because if you can't pass a background check, there's no sense in going forward. So, meantime, I'm kind of hanging there thinking, I got this or I don't have this. So after they started running background checks, they were like, tell us a story about the car. So I said, I tell you, I drew the picture of the car. And once I drew the picture, man, it was just a lock. It was a lock at that point, man, because I've been thinking about this story for so long. And I've told this story so many times. I told it consistently, man, with no lies, no fabrications to the story. To draw the picture of what's been in my head for so long, I drew it in minutes. And they fell in love with it. And the cool part was, we built that car almost identical to the drawing. It was the only one on the show that was actually done to the drawing. My drawing. Not their drawings, my drawing, the way I drew it, which was awesome. I mean, it really was.
So if your dad was around today, what would he be thinking about you being on the show?
Man, they asked. It's funny, they soften you up on the show the whole time to get your emotions to come out, because it's reality TV's based on emotions. They want that real emotion, and they asked that question about 2,000 times. How would your dad feel? How would your dad feel? My dad would be going nuts. He was my biggest fan, man. He was my biggest fan my whole life, building cars and other projects we've done with television. And we did our own TV show called Jerzey Customs. I always make sure I put my dad in it, man. He was so proud. But to be able to build that Charger would have been a dream come true for him. Never mind me. It would have been a dream come true for him. He would have loved it, man. Loved it.
So what was one memorable moment about the Charger with you and your dad that you can go back and think about today that you've never, ever told anybody?
There's a couple of good stories, man. We had a lot of wild times. See, what happened was we got real competitive. The car bonded us because we built it together. But, at some point, I had to go into the real world, so my dad had to cut the umbilical cord. And what they did was, once we painted the car and got the car together, I always remember him standing on the sidewalk, man, my first real trip in the car when the car was done. And my dad was a tough guy, man. He didn't crack no tears. I never seen my dad crack a tear, man. And I remember driving away, and I could see him. I look in the rearview mirror, and I see him wiping his eye, man. I could just see he was just like, he just let me go to become a man. You know what I mean? He let the car go off. But we never even talked about that, him and I. But I could see that. I looked in that mirror because I was hoping he was wiping his eyes, man, and he was. It was kind of cool. It was neat.
That's pretty cool. And then once you got on, so the show was filmed in England. I kept on thinking it was like filmed in L.A. or something.
In the beginning, we couldn't say anything. And then I was like, how are you going to... people are watching me fly to England. I'm talking about England. They knew I was in England. So then they just said, all right, you can, if somebody asks, you can tell them it was England. But then they just made an announcement, which made it easier for everybody that, I was in there. I was over there 33 days, man. I was there twice, and we filmed, and it was a culture shock for me over there, man. It was just a culture shock, man. Way different than America. Everything is different. Everything is different in England, man. Everything.
I bet it was. I bet the culture was different too.
You know, man, I got to tell you, man, England made me an alcoholic. All we do is drink over there, man. They had serving beer in Dunkin' Donuts, man. Everywhere you go is beer, served. CVS, every single store serves beer, man. It's all about drinking over there, man. And I didn't drink while I was filming. I refused to drink. I wanted to be fresh and sharp on the set every day. So I just didn't go out. I locked myself in my room and I stood on it. I was on the pencil. We were drawing, designing, making the cars, making sure we had all the details, getting all the engineering together. I would talk to the engineers and the mechanics. So I didn't go out of the room. I really locked myself in like a hermit when I was there because I wanted to be so on my A game. And I knew if I went out partying and did some stupid shit, forget about it, man. I would just it would show on television, and I didn't want to I didn't want to have that memory of filming. No, I was out, so I just stood. But man, it was tough, man. It was everywhere I went was partying.
I bet it was. So you were on the first episode too. It was like a close and close in the competition in both garages. I mean, the other competitor car was just as good, but
Jadesha, man, she's a sweetheart, man. Her car was awesome. Her car was amazing. It really was.
I thought so too. But when I saw that Charger all souped up with those blue flames, oh my gosh, I was fanboying over that, man.
Well, you know what happened? I had rules, man, when I went there, right? I mean, I didn't I'm in no position to negotiate. There's a lot of things not happening, right? The look, going there with the bandana and the tattoos and the goatee, and just the way I look all the time.
Yeah,
I wasn't about to negotiate the look. Super important. NBC loved it, man. That's the look they wanted. I can't believe it. I can't believe they went for the look. Number two was the car. They wanted to make a lot of modifications to that car when we were filming, and I refused. I wouldn't let them cut the body. I wanted to keep that thing as original as possible. And if you watch the episode, the judges kind of challenged me a couple of times on it, that I wasn't taking it serious enough. But I was not going to modify it to 69 Dodge Charger. To me, it's the most iconic, beautiful car ever made. Just my opinion. And I didn't want to go goofing it up, making it look like a cartoon. You know what I mean? I wanted to look like a traditional Hot Wheels. So it was important that we kept that car as original as possible, the body, you know what I mean? And we did. I just refused to cut it, man. I wouldn't even let them put a torch to it or a grinder to the body. We had to keep that body original. And I was so proud we did, man. It worked.
Yeah, it was darn right beautiful. I just loved it. And I can picture that as a miniature Hot Wheel car too.
Dude, I cannot not picture it as a Hot Wheels, man, because that car it screams Hot Wheels. Matter of fact, they're coming out with a Hot Wheels movie. They're going to start production in 2024. And I'm like, man, I could just see that car as a cartoon, just driving everywhere and calling the car, it's on a wheelie as it's just saving the world. It's just riding around on two wheels all the time. The car's to me, it just screams old school, traditional Hot Wheels. It's just an iconic looking car. I mean, I love it. I love the car. I really do.
And then also, when the finale came, did you think you were going to be the last three of all the contestants?
My gut told me yes, but after seeing the other episodes, how cool the cars were, I started to get nervous in the beginning because, remember, I was the pilot show and the first show, and then I left. So I had no clue what went on for 8 weeks on that set. Matter of fact, I didn't even have contact with anybody, so I didn't know what they were building. Nobody sent me secret photos. I had no clue what was going on. So when I got there, when I went back, and they called me, and I seen what people were building in the garage, we went to the warehouse. I was like, wow, I can't believe how cool these cars are. Then I started to get nervous. That's when I had doubts in myself, man. I was like, I can't believe how amazing these cars are. Because those creations were unbelievable, man. I mean, they made a monster bug. It was a monster, man. It looked like a monster. It was insane how cool it looked. It was just cool stuff.
I like the jet car that was made from the jet.
Car, I designed, not that jet car, a jet car for the show also. The jet car was amazing, man. That was badass,
Yeah, I wanted.
They all were.
Yeah, I liked them all, but the jet car was cool. I wanted to jump in with Joe McHale and just take it for a test drive.
Man, I know. It was funny, man. They kept it a secret. We didn't know who the special guests were going to be. Terry Crews is awesome guy. Let me tell you something, man. As soon as he came out, he did the thing with the pecs. He had him going, and he was doing all that cool stuff. He was amazing, man. He was blown away. When that car popped that wheelie, his look on his face, I knew right there I won. I said, look at that guy. He was amazed I got that car to do that, that 9-10 foot wheelie on stage, man, which was awesome.
That's wild. And then you got to create the 68 Chevy van, Superfan van, with that awesome purple color. That to me is Hot Wheels. I could see that in a Hot Wheels package at a store, that shiny purple. I'd be going up there going, I want that car.
I designed that car. It's funny, right? So now I went in the second time. I went in hot. I didn't go there with a sobby story about my dad or this is for my kids. Or, I went in there to win. I went in there hot. Matter of fact, they did the editing pretty good because I had to apologize. I went in there hot. I wasn't playing. I want the 164 more than anything in my life. I forfeited the money. I told them keep the $50,000. I don't want any money from the show. All I want is the car. I'm fighting for the car. I didn't care about the money. So what happened was, as the inspiration native 5,000 spitting out the cars, and I'm like, please give me the Trans Am, please give me the Trans Am, please give me the Trans Am. Boom, the Volkswagen came out. You know what I mean? I said, oh, now I got to do the Volkswagen. But it was funny when we designed that Volkswagen, it really was like I didn't have a direction on the car because the car was done 86 times by Hot Wheels. Mattel made 86 different versions.
Okay.
So I wanted to be 86, 87. I wanted to be 88. So I had to think of something that was completely different. And everything I tried to design, I kept hitting a wall, was already done. So we had to come up with something different. And it was virtually almost impossible to come up with a new design. Thank God we came up what we did, but it was a struggle. That was a tough build, that Volkswagen.
It looked like it was. And also I remember on the episode too, about where she made the flames for the back of it.
Yeah, that was, what we were trying to build, Hot Wheels had never done a Formula One, and a Formula One's a low-profile car, open-wheel racer. We just thought it'd be neat to take a Volkswagen and do it, which Ted Wu, a head designer from Hot Wheels, loved. He said, that's the design. So I said, all right, we'll go with that. Then Claudia curveballed me with these beautiful flames, and once she did the flames, it went against our build, the design, but what it did was create a whole new design. So the team started to have some conflict on stage. We started to go back and forth. It was like we're in one direction. We're 3 days in on the build. Now we got to stop everything. But the flames were so cool that the judges loved it. So we had to flip the script 3 days into the build and built a completely new van. So we were struggling with that, man. That was a rough one.
And also...
But I think we pulled it off. I think we got it.
Oh, it was beautiful. Like I said, I wish I had that Hot Wheel car in my hand.
Oh, so I wanted to tell you what. So I designed the car from being in a blister pack.
Yeah.
When I designed the car, it was from the side. So if you were walking down an aisle, what would stop you? That's why I said Superfan van, the pipes, the whole design was all designed as if it was in a package for sale. That's the way I did the car because I know that if I was walking down and caught that off the corner of my eye, I would buy that Hot Wheels 100%, man. And that's why we designed it the way we did.
I would have bought it too. And also the color. The color really made it pop too, which I loved.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know. This is kind of cool. I'm glad you're the first one I'm telling this to, the story. There's a lot of cool stuff that we did. That car was designed, we called it the 68. Now, the 68, check this out. The van was a 68. That color was a 68 purple. The pipes were set at 68 degrees. What was the other thing? There was a whole bunch of things that was six. The number is 68 because that's the first year for Hot Wheels. 68's the year my wife was born. It was like so much personal attachment to that car that we just kept rolling with the 68 theme. So all that stuff, if they did put it on a package, would have been cool to put in the back. And purple's my wife's favorite color. It was all working in my favor. So on the back, I would just put all that cool stuff because people didn't realize that we designed everything we tried to do had the number 68 attached to it. Marking it for the original 16 Hot Wheels that came out in 1968. They left that fact out. That was a cool fact to put on the show. They left it all out.
That's surprising since it's a Hot Wheels Mattel production show. I'm surprised they didn't say that. Wow.
I was a little shocked by it, but there's so much to cram into that show. I do get it. I get it. But I wish, like I said, I'm telling you, this is the first time I've ever spoken about all that cool stuff. But that 68, again, we designed it based on the side profile and the number 68 that holds for the first year for Hot Wheels, man. We were going with our guns loaded when we come to build this van. We just went, just all the things that Hot Wheels would love. And just like, if you've seen, they did the twist with the 72 Corvette.
Yeah.
Put the light underneath it. our car was designed with the same version of it with a sunroof. We had to leave the tube out because we couldn't drive the car.
Yeah.
What it was the sun would reflect down to a tube, and the Volts where it said Hot Wheels in the front, that's going to light up from the sun. But we couldn't do that on the show because there was no sun, obviously, in the studio. We lit it up with lights, but that also was part of that 72 Hot Wheels twist. We just kept bouncing off Hot Wheels stuff, man. We were on fire doing that car, believe me.
And what'd you think about when you met Jay Leno, and he really liked that car too, and gave the good compliment?
Here's the thing, man. Jay Leno, everybody was so intimidated. So I seen Jay Leno sitting by himself for a while, and then I said, I'm going to go. I said, Jay, is it all right if I hand? He goes, hell yeah. We talked for about 40 minutes. We never shut up because we have such common interest with hot rods because I'm a car builder. So he even said about 5 times, he goes, me and you should have a talk show. He goes, we were just bouncing off. We so connected on that show. I think out of everybody in that room, Jay and I connected the most. When he came out to see that Volkswagen, he was in love, man. I mean, you only seen a portion of it. He was in love with that Volkswagen, and he just kept talking about how much he loved it, calling it old school. And that's what I went in there to build old school, you know?
That's pretty wild. So did you get a chance to take it outside for a spin?
Yeah. I posted a video. It's on my Instagram. If you go on the Jerzey_Jim Instagram, you'll see a picture. Because everybody was saying the cars didn't run and drive. Everybody was talking smack that these cars didn't run and drive. They were just props. We built that car. We actually took away from actual build time to do the cosmetics to make that thing run and drive. That car was a 355 stroker with a Muncie 4-speed with a 4.9-inch rear with nitrous oxide. That car drove on stage. It was the only car that drove up on that stage. We got in that car, burning rubber, patching out, burning down the road, turned it around, brought it back in, and drove that car on the stage, man. So we took a lot of time to make sure that car could run and drive, which actually took away from our cosmetic build, but it was just as important that that car could run and drive. It was a monster. You got to see the video of it smoking the tires up. It was a monster, trust me.
I'll definitely will check that out. On the show, you guys weren't allowed to keep the cars. What did he do with the cars?
It's kind of funny, man. That's a soft subject because they don't. Now think about it, man. The cars are over in England. It's going to cost a fortune to ship them back.
Yeah.
A lot of them got pieced up. We needed parts. When I was building my car, we ran out of parts. There was no more parts in the warehouse to pull. Mm-hmm. We were pulling stuff off other cars. I begged Mattel to please sell me the car, the Charger. Please don't crush it. Let me have first dibs on the car. They may want to use it if they renew for season 2. They're going to have wall hangers. You see in the background, they have cars on the stage. Charger might be one of them. If they don't, they're worried about the liabilities because if somebody was to take that car, go out, crash it, get killed, commit a crime with it, there's a lot of liability going back to Mattel. I totally get why they wouldn't want those cars in the streets. I'm willing to sign any piece of paper just to own that car. I would leave it in my garage and just stare at it every weekend when I'm drinking beer, man. I can't. I want the car. I put dibs on the car, so hopefully it'll come back someday.
That'd be pretty.
At any cost. At any cost.
That'd be pretty cool. You deserve to have that car in your garage. You deserve that, and have a cool picture right beside of it going, "Hey, I own this baby." You deserve it.
Well, here's the thing, man. So I'm one step ahead of Mattel right now. We're actually building a '69 Charger. The identical car from that TV show is out in my garage. I got a '69 Charger out there. We didn't release the video. We're going to release the video this week on the Instagram. I'm building the same car, same hydraulic lift, same everything that was on that car. We're going to do it out in the garage, and hopefully for 2024 we could take it out on tour, and we'll be able to show it around to all the Hot Wheels fans. Stuff like that. It's going to be cool. So if I don't get the original one, I'm going to have one exactly like it. It'll be done for next year.
That would be pretty cool, man. I can't wait
cool.
I can't wait to see it once she gets it fixed. I'll be looking forward to checking out that video because I love Chargers and I also love Mustangs. Those are my 2 favorite sports cars.
Mustangs in my family. I check it out. Robin, this is cool, man. At one point, we had so many Mustangs here. My wife drove a Mustang. My daughter drove a Mustang. My other daughter drove a Mustang. My son-in-law drove a Mustang. There was Mustangs parked in front of my house at all times in front of this. It was crazy how many Mustangs we had here.
Yeah, I used to have a Mustang GT because I grew up in California, and when I moved to Ohio, it was kind of hard to drive during the winter time and stuff. I kept on getting stuck, putting the sandbags in the back, and And I had to get rid of it. I was crying. It was my pride and joy.
I loved it. My wife loved it too, man. She's actually, we sold her car. She had a custom car, really beautiful Mustang. Again, like I said, if you go on my Facebook, you'll see that one. We have all the pictures on the Jerzey Jim's garage, Hot Rod Garage on Facebook. You'll see all the pictures of the cars I've built. I built over 300 custom cars. I never said that on the show. Like, they didn't know that. I'm like, so I made an announcement. I said, just for the record, man, I'm a car builder, man. I got over 300 custom builds, probably a lot more by now. 300 documented custom builds I've done over the years. So I've built every type of car, every color you could think of, with every configuration of a motor. So I built my wife a beautiful car. We sold it last year to my sister, so she's actually carrying on because she's part of the car club. Club also. She's driving it around now, so at least the car's still in the family. Pretty cool. A lot of cars I built, brother. A lot.
So, are you a big horror fan?
Dude, here's the thing. Now, a lot of people, I didn't bring this up on the television show. So I am a writer, and I write scripts, and I got a script about the '69 Charger. It takes place in 1983. It's called Wild Summer Nights, but I write horror movies also, and I got 2 killer scripts. That one's a short story and one's a pretty cool horror movie that I'm always toying with. Like, I don't know which one to really start. I almost want to start doing some promos or shooting some sizzle reels on these things. But man, I'm into horror, man, big time.
You should write that horror short or that horror feature film and submit it to a bunch of horror film festivals.
Well, I didn't know what to do with them. That's the thing. The script, I got a lot of guys asking me about the script, Wild Summer Nights. They always ask me about it's about the Jersey Shore, partying and rock and roll. It's all the cool stuff, and 80s music. But the horror movies, I just don't know what to do with those yet. I just got them. They're on the side. They're complete, and they're just sitting there. I'm just waiting to I don't know if I want to tackle that project or really go after this car movie first. So I don't know which one. But the way my mind is, and they say that creative minds don't think like normal people, man, that's why I write everything down. I got scripts this high, man. I'm always writing something. There's always a short story or something. That's why I was a big asset to the show, being able to write for them and contribute to all the writing on the show, which was kind of cool.
That's pretty awesome. Since you're big into horror, have you ever thought about doing a horror-themed sports car?
You know, I'm big into hearse. I like hearse. I've had quite a few. My son and I were just looking at one, actually. I like the older ones. I like the ones. I do like the 70s ones. The 60 ones are way cooler, but even the 50s hearse. But I like the oddball ones, not the Cadillac hearse, but the actual, like the Pontiacs, or you see some old Oldsmobiles or some Chevy hearse. But I'm definitely want to do one like old school Rat Fink with the motor and the shifter and the hand at the top and just dripping. So my daughter's house during Halloween is the place to be. She has all animated horror going on in the house. It's pretty evil when you go in there. So this year, what I want to do is buy a hearse for the door. I want to nose the car into a house. You actually have to crawl through the hearse to get into the house. Yeah, I'm thinking about using the car for the entrance for the house. So you have to crawl through it to get into the house for her party this year.
That would be pretty wild, man.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Shoot, everybody would be liking that. You'd be having a big line over at your daughter's house going, I want to...
Well, my daughter was like this last year. She's like, Dad, we got to come up with some cool stuff. So I went on Marketplace and I seen a guy had a wheelchair from an insane asylum that was in Pennsylvania. It was actually from the insane asylum back from the 20s. So I seen this wheelchair and it was creepy looking online. So I went to the guy's house and the guy was just as creepy. I mean, this thing, I could feel the bodies in this wheelchair. It's the creepiest thing I've ever touched. I've had gurneys and everything. This wheelchair is creepier. So the guy was like, and he was creepy when he was telling me the story. So we took the wheelchair and I brought it to my daughter's house. I said, you need to put this inside the house for your party. Man, they were freaking out, man. They were just like, they were nervous that it was going to start moving on its own. And just, you could see that this wheelchair is telling a story, man. You can feel the presence in the chair. And so what they did was they got scared. They put it in the basement now, and they got a big blanket over it. They don't even want to stare at it, man. But so stuff like that, man. It's just that's her theme in her house, man. It's just take it to the edge. That's why I always contribute by building something. I built a killer guillotine for the year before, an actual working guillotine. I mean, we got a lot of horror stuff going on in that house. You know, it's cool.
That's pretty wild. I wish I had a cool neighbor like you around here. I live out in Ohio, man. You really don't see none of that fun stuff.
Yeah, but I was in Ohio. It was cool, man. I spent some time at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was supposed to do my work with the band Leonard Skinner, those guys are good friends of mine, and we were going to do a tribute truck for Ronnie Van Zant. They were going to put it in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and so I was kind of working back and forth with a couple of those guys, and then that project fizzled. But I mean, I don't know much about it, Ohio. Like I said, but I've been in Cleveland a couple of times, man. Cleveland was kind of cool. It was all right.
Yeah, it's all right. I've been there a few times. I live outside of Cincinnati, so it's kind of a little different, but it's all right. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So are you gonna buy the Hot Wheel car from the Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge?
Now, I spoke to Arushi, the winner, who is probably her and Judacia on the show are my two best friends. Arushi, we talk at least every other day. She won. She's a sweetheart, man. I really love this girl, man. I mean, we got so close on the set. And after the show, we did some personal appearances together, and her family and her son, man. I'm just really big fans of hers. And I talked to her yesterday. I talked to her today, but I spoke to her yesterday, and I said, wouldn't it be cool if they gave us the car? She goes, Jimmy, I already got you, man. They're coming your way. So I don't have to. She's going to have them sent to me, the cars from the show. Now, they're supposed to be doing a 3-pack, from what I understand. The 3 cars will be made into a 3-pack for Hot Wheels, which will be dynamite if that happens. Then they were thinking about doing a whole series. It's not confirmed about the actual winners, like the Charger and so forth, the Monster Bud and stuff like that. That would just, man, I can't imagine them not doing that. It just would just be an amazing set to have, you know.
I would love to get that set. If that set does happen, I'm going to send you that 3-pack set. I'm going to have you sign it if it has that Charger in it.
I know. I will totally. I'll come to your house and sign it, man. Dude, I'll travel anywhere, man. I'm telling you, man. That's because I see one of your questions, how I got the name Jerzey Jim, right? It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question. Because I've done so much traveling over the years, man. And when I grew up, we had nicknames. Everybody had nicknames in Bayonne. Everybody had a nickname. Nobody went by their real name. But my nickname has changed over the years, involved. Because I was so involved in rock and roll and custom cars and building cars for movies, I traveled so much. Jim is an easy name to forget. Let's face it. You're going to forget that name. We attached Jerzey on the front. Once you put Jerzey Jim to it, it's like everybody, because they used to say, that's that guy from Jersey. That's that guy from Jersey. All we did was put it together, Jerzey and Jim, and then that name's been around forever, and it was easy. So now it's a no-brainer, man. They'll never forget it. If I put Jerzey Jim in an email, people will remember it. If you just put Jim, they're not going to remember your name. So that name actually evolved from that. But from all the work I do, like I said, with movies, rock and roll, I've done cars, shows, everything, man. It's pretty cool. I've been around cameras a long time.
That's pretty wild. You built like custom cars for films and all that, and you're like a screenwriter. You've done everything. You're like the jack of.
I did it. We did the Blues Brothers reunion. My buddy called me up over there and said, "Hey, man, we're gonna be doing the Blues Brothers reunion in Chicago at the prison." I was like, "All right, let me build the car real fast." I built the Bluesmobile in a matter of a couple of weeks, and I never even drove the car. Me and my son got in the car, drove to Chicago. Man, it was the greatest trip of my life. We drove to every spot where the Blues Brothers was filmed. We drove around the city of Chicago. We went to Ray's Music Emporium. We went to the church where James Brown was. We went everywhere, man, in that car. Police escorted with people cheering us on, Blues Brothers. But there was a whole bunch of Blues Brothers cars out there, man. It was insane how cool it was, man. Like, I built Smokey and the Bandit car, Starsky and Hutch car. I built the Knight Rider car. I love movie cars, man. The only one I haven't done is the Ghostbusters ambulance, because it's too hard to find. And I've pretty much done every other car. General Lee, I've had them all. Working on a Batmobile right now.
That's pretty awesome. So where can everybody find you on social media to see what you're doing next?
All right, so if you go to Jerzey Jim's Hot Rods, that's on Facebook. That used to actually be the Jersey Devils Facebook page. You can go into the albums or go into the videos, and you'll see hundreds of cars I built, and you'll see every car that's in there. Jerzey Jim's Hot Rods. On Instagram, it's Jerzey with a Z, Jerzey _Jim. Go on there. We just started the Instagram thing. When I got the TV show, we had to have an Instagram, and we had to have a Twitter. That's part of the agreement on the show. But I got a lot of cool videos. Every video I got is a custom car build. You'll see. There's a lot of cars on there, man. A lot.
All right. That's pretty fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, look, man, they keep going. You don't got to kick me off. I'll keep talking on. Look, the Hot Wheels experience was awesome, man. I'm going to tell you, it's a life changer, man. It's the dream I've had my whole life to tell my own story. Nobody had to write that story for me. I wrote my own story, so I got to write my own ending, right? I told the story. All the other shows I work on, I do for other people. I write their stories, I create their cars, I do their creations. NBC and Hot Wheels let me tell my story, and that's what's amazing. That's why I was so touched and so emotional on the show, because it was my story. Imagine telling your own story. How cool that would be on television.
That's
great.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to have you on again, because I know you have more stories, and I would like to hear some more stories about how much.
Talk all night, man. We did a little thing this weekend, benefit this weekend. I talked 5 straight hours to about. I can't even tell you how many people. My wife said, "You talk for 5 straight hours to people." I love it, man. I love it, because I guess, I never really thought about it. I get to live the life a lot of people want to live, man. Rock and roll, movies, radio. It's just, I get to do it all, man. I mean, I get to do it all. I pick and choose it, and I love it, man. I just love it. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on.